The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights is reporting that more than 147 people have been killed in clashes between Syrian troops and forces loyal to the ousted leader Bashar al-Assad. Fighting broke out on Thursday and is concentrated in coastal cities in the west. Syria's interim government has launched a large-scale security operation. Reports say at least 13 members of the security forces were killed in an ambush by pro-Assad fighters near the port city of Latakia. The region's a stronghold of Assad supporters and a curfew is now in effect. These are the deadliest clashes since President Assad was toppled by insurgents in December. Well, Zedoun Alzoubi is a Syrian governance and peacebuilding expert. I asked him if these clashes had come out of nowhere.
Actually, it happened yesterday after an ambush set by former supporters of the former regime, of Assad regime, where 14 people from the general security were killed. This actually provoked a massive anger inside proponents of the current government, actually opponents of Assad. And this actually created some sort of acts of revenge. Now, in many cases, the Syrian army is marching to stop and arrest the perpetrators of yesterday's clashes, and they are actually former Syrian army officers. However, I have to be very, very clear. What is happening has gone far beyond that. What is happening right now at the moment is retaliation and acts of revenge by many factions that do not really that are not really part of the Syrian army. They're going inside cities, killing civilians, humiliating people, mainly from the Alawite sect. So it is no more government versus former Assad regime, what you call loyalist. Now it is actually happening against the Alawite sect. This has to stop now.
And the Alawite sect is being targeted because they were supporters of the former president.
Actually, the Alawite sect is accused of supporting the Syrian, the former president, but this is not true. Right now, people are targeted only because they are Alawite, which is unacceptable and fully condemned. What we should do right now is immediate ceasefire. The government only is allowed to go inside cities to stop former loyalists of Assad regime.
Is this likely, do you think, to escalate?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, it is likely to escalate. And if we don't stop this now, if the government does not really take strong actions to and become really proactive to stop all the violations taken or committed by armed factions coming from the Sunni part of the country, then the country will go in another round of violence that will likely last for long time this time.
OK, so this is a big test for this new government. The way that I read it from what you're saying is they have to clamp down on everyone, essentially, with a gun in that region, whether or not they say they are on the government side or not.
Absolutely. The government should step immediately to say, OK, fine, I am the government. I am the one who can really enforce law and not anybody else. What is happening right now is insane. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm talking to people in Tartus, in Latakia, in Banyas, in all Alawite regions. Scare, fear, reporting to me things like killing families in their homes. This is unacceptable and cannot continue this way.
Syria was due to announce a new government this month. Is that still likely to happen?
It should happen. It must happen, but it should be an inclusive government, a government that represents the Syrian society. It cannot be of one color. I was quite hopeful. I have heard a lot of positive news in Damascus about the government that will be formed. I was part of the dialogue conference, so I heard a lot of good let's say, expectations for the government, for the upcoming government, but this has to happen now, immediately. An inclusive government could help in de-escalating stuff on the ground in Syria.
OK, thank you for talking us through that. Zedoun Alzoubi, governance and peace-building expert. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, joining me here in the studio for more on this is DW reporter Gasia Ohanes. Gasia, what more do we know about these developments, these clashes in western Syria?
Well, Terry, these are the worst clashes on the Syrian coast since the fall of the Assad regime. And right now, as it stands, the security forces of the current leadership says that they've captured 200 loyalist forces. After several clashes with them, they said there was an ambush on the Latakia highway, and they responded with drones overhead. They sent ground troops from different major Syrian cities, and all of that has resulted in a lot of bloodshed. There's different numbers coming in, some saying more than 70 people now killed, including many being held captive.
Help us understand the background to this. We know about the Alawite community being associated with the former regime, but why are they clashing with security forces now that are running the country in this way at this point?
Yeah, when the security forces first entered this region, when the Assad government fell, a lot of the Alawite community just abandoned their troops. They didn't fire bullets. They didn't put up a fight. And it is happening in a much worse way now. And there could be different reasons for that. One was that there was this settlement plan that the security forces offered. They said former officers and high-ranking officers in the former army could present themselves, hand over their weapons, and then they would be cleared in a way. But that deadline expired. Even the extended deadline expired last month. So now anyone who didn't do that can face a harsh punishment, and this could be fueling, armed fights and clashes because there's no other option for these people at the moment. Another thing has been a lot of protests within the Alawite community. They've been demanding the release of prisoners, Alawite prisoners being held because of their role in the former government, as well as demanding that, the current temporary government stop making legislations in the country and just focus on providing security and services. These demands were not met either. All of that has led to the rise in tensions and now the eruption of clashes.
So do Syria's new leaders have this under control now, or do these clashes have potential to escalate into something bigger?
A Ministry of Defense spokesperson has said that they're very close now to, reestablish stability in this exact region and on Syria's coast. However, we also have troubling reports emerging that show these aren't just clashes, but there's executions as well reported. I've seen some of these videos surfacing on Telegram channels of people being shot while attempting to flee or attempting to surrender. All of this is going to lead to an increase in tensions already existing between this community of Alawites, which is an offshoot of Shia Islam, and the Sunni leaders in the current government. It's going to lead to more sectarian tensions. And Syria's government doesn't just face this one challenge. It also has challenges with the Kurds in the north. It has challenges with the Druze in the south. And now, they've promised a new government in March, and this will be one of the key things they have to tackle in order to bring things under control.
Gasia, thank you very much for filling us in there. That was DW reporter Gasia Ohanes.